Hey, drop. Yeah, hey, drop.
Welcome. It's your man, God of Docs, back with another episode of The Audible. Happy Friday. Hope everybody's had a good week. Know that I have. Hope everybody's had a very good day, peaceful day. I'm in a good mood. You should be in a good mood. It's the weekend. Hey, summertime. All right. Anyway. Miss Merv, how you doing? Listening from the clouds. Yes. Appreciate you as always for coming through. Not going to be here too long. Had to, kind of get it in. I'm still working on the NFL stuff. I'm thinking about doing something a little bit different. I don't know if I want to do team by team because that's turned out to be a lot of work on, getting the voices together and all that kind of stuff. So maybe switching it up, but I still will be doing NFL content. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to kind of give it a chance to breathe. Minicamp is started and all of that good stuff. But we're going to talk about the news of the day. Been a busy week in the NBA. Not much going on in NFL, but busy week in the NBA. Trades going down. NBA draft was last night. Who won? Who lost? Head scratchers. Gonna talk about it. First of all, let's start off with probably one of the biggest trades of the week. There was a couple of trades that kind of changed the landscape of the NBA in a different kind of way. But we're gonna talk about it. We talked about it earlier on the last show, the Bradley Beal trade. I'm not gonna go too much into that, but we're gonna see the fallout from the Bradley Beal trade when we're talking about the Chris Paul trade initially to Washington, and now Chris Paul has been traded to Golden State Warriors for Jordan Poole and some assets. Let's break this trade down for both teams. I'm gonna start with Washington. I'm just gonna say this. I don't know what Washington has gone on. I don't know if they're in complete total rebuild or what are they doing, because for the guys to have traded Bradley Beal, have traded Kristaps Porzingis, and the only real tangible, as far as like known commodity that you got, how you doing, Gatty girl? The only commodity that Washington walked away with that is a known commodity is Jordan Poole. Not surprised that Jordan Poole got moved. I'm surprised at what he got moved for. Washington, I don't know what you're doing. I mean, Jordan Poole is a very talented offensive player. I think that the reports that have been coming out of Golden State, and not necessarily just the reports that we saw from Golden State. If you watch Golden State, especially during the playoff run, where Jordan Poole was a goddamn factor for the majority of it, it seemed out of sorts with that team the entire season. And I'm not going to blame it on Draymond Green. If you are unaware who opted out of his player option with the Golden State Warriors, I'm not going to blame it all on Draymond Green, but it definitely had an impact on the season. And like I said, I'm not surprised that they traded Jordan Poole. It's a nice size contract he's getting ready to come on. I think he's about to begin a 4-year, $140 million extension. And this we're talking about, the new CBA, as far as like limiting the cap, that kind of stuff. It was Dre's fault. Maybe. I'm not going to put it all, because like the reports that we're getting out of Golden State Gator Girl was that Steph Curry was not necessarily satisfied with the attitude of a Jordan Poole. I know Draymond wasn't satisfied. There was reports coming out, and it's funny how the reports start coming out once the guy's been moved. that Jordan Poole had issues with Klay Thompson, felt like he should have been getting Klay Thompson's minutes. This a lot of guys are not co-signing Jordan Poole since his departure from Golden State. Like I said, reports are leaking out, guys are talking, and I guess this is how the NBA works. But I'm like I said, I'm not going to blame it all on Dre for knocking his ass out. I'm not going to blame it all on Dre, but I think that came to a head and it hung over the team for a year, and I don't think the team was able to really come together like they should have, considering the talent that they do have. You got to include Andrew Wiggins disappearing for a couple months due to unknown personal reasons, which we will never find out. But let's get back to the trade. I think Washington, for what you gave up during the trades that you made this week, if I'm ownership, I got to be looking at my GM kind of funny. Like, I'm not getting. I didn't get a lot of first round picks. And we talked about, when they traded Bradley Beal, I was thinking like, man, if you trade Bradley Beal, you should at least get 2 first round picks. I know he has a very large contract and a lot of teams weren't able to handle it. But if Rudy Gobert is able to get traded and they're able to get 4 first rounds, I mean, I think Bradley Beal is at least worth 2. And then like you didn't get any young talented players in exchange for Bradley Beal. Then you top it off with your trade of Porzingis to Boston, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But all you got was Jordan Poole. Now Jordan Poole is going to have the green light to jack it up because Kyle Kuzma, who has opted out of his contract, is Washington is still in play according to reports coming out from Kuzma's camp. Washington is still in play. I think he just opted out, looking for a longer, more sizable contract. But all you got is Jordan Poole. I mean, your draft was okay, but it's not a home run. You didn't bring in any big time talent. Washington is not necessarily a free agent destination. I think Washington's going to have a little money to play with, but are guys going to be interested in going there and possibly winning? But we'll see. I mean, Jordan Poole is a nice piece, but I think he could have got a little bit more. Now let's talk about the trade on the other side of that. Chris Paul to Golden State. Me personally, I don't see the fit. I don't see the fit as far as like, not to say that Chris Paul can't assimilate to any kind of system, because we've seen him do it. Each place that he's gone to, he's been moderately successful as far as being part of competitive teams. But I don't see how Chris Paul moves the needle for Golden State in a West. I don't see how adding Chris Paul gets them any closer to the Denver Nuggets, gets them any closer to the Phoenix Suns. I don't see it. I think Chris Paul, I was thinking the initial plan was when he got traded to Washington was going to buy him out. He was going to be able to be a free agent, go out and sign with a championship level team, but I don't see how he enhances Golden State. He's still a good point guard, not a great point guard anymore. I mean, he's an older player. I want to say Chris Paul is due to turn 39 this upcoming season. At some point, I mean, can you get more than 25, maybe 30 minutes a night out of him? But how does he fit into what Golden State does? Golden State, a lot of their offense is ball movement, and not to say Chris Paul can't play in that system, but Chris Paul is so used to being the guy to set other guys up, being the point guard, orchestrating the offense. But, with Golden State, especially if they bring Draymond back, how does that impact Chris Paul on the floor? Draymond has, for the most part, been the facilitator, the orchestrator of the offense. How does that look when you have a true point guard actually trying to run the show, get other guys involved, get guys shots, get guys in rhythm? Not to say that he can't, but it's going to be a different style of ball when he's on the floor. It's like I give it a C. If I'm going to grade it, I got to give it a C. It doesn't move the needle for me. It doesn't make them a better team. I like Jordan Poole's ability to create off the dribble, be a force on the scoring end. Now, he doesn't give you much on the defensive end, but I mean, this is the NBA. Not too many guys are giving you too much on the defensive end anyway. but I got to give it a C, man. I got to give it a C. It don't move the needle. Now, speaking of moving the needle, you gave it a C minus, get a girl. I give it a C. It's middle of the road. It don't move. It don't move. It doesn't make them considering the trade we're getting ready to talk about. It, in my opinion, it doesn't get them closer to Memphis. It doesn't get them closer to Denver. It doesn't get them closer to Phoenix. I mean, that's just me. I thought, if you're going to bring in a guy, maybe bring in a stretch big to put into that offense. Get you a Jordan Poole-esque type shot creator who doesn't have the ego. But go to say, hey, it is what it is. But on to the other Washington trade that kind of made headlines this week. Kristaps Porzingis being traded in a three-team deal. Porzingis goes to Boston. Marcus Smart goes to the Grizz, and Tyus Jones goes to the Wizards. Nice pickup for the Wizards. Tyus Jones is a starter level point guard, but doesn't move the needle. I mean, I hate to say it like that, and I like Tyus Jones games, especially the times he had to fill in for Morant over the past couple of seasons due to injury or suspension. But Tyus Jones and Jordan Poole backcourt doesn't scare me. But probably the most interesting piece, and I know people are going to focus on Porzingis going to Boston. People are on the assumption that Boston is going to re-sign Jaylen Brown. And Jaylen Brown, if those who don't know, is due for a massive contract extension this offseason. We're talking about, I want to say 6 years, $290 million. And that's not to account for the large contract that Porzingis is already on. That's not accounting for the money you have allocated. You're going to have allocated for Jason Tatum when it's time for him to come up for his $300+ million extension. And does Porzingis really make Boston? I've listened to the pundits. I've listened to the news reports. Does Porzingis make Boston the team to beat in the East? And you can make an argument, considering the current state of every other team in the East, that Boston has risen to the top of the totem pole. If you're not aware, Chris Middleton has declined his $40 million player option. He is a free agent. I anticipate him coming back to Milwaukee on a more long-term deal. But, nothing is ever guaranteed when we're talking about the NBA. Does James Harden go back to Philadelphia? When you really think about it, if Boston is able to bring back Jaylen Brown on a extension, you have to consider the landscape that it is now. I'm not talking about any proposed trades that may or may not be out there, but I gotta put Boston at the top of the East going into next season. If I'm gonna say if they're able to bring back Jaylen Brown on an extension. And that's a big if. I know a lot of teams were kind of inquiring about possibly doing a sign and trade for Jaylen Brown, because we know Boston is, not to say that they don't have the money, but with the new CBA and how that's kind of set up, it's going to really, really restrict teams from really building the super teams like they used to do back in the day. This is how the CBA is kind of set up, is to create more parity, more even playing field. Even Denver is going to have to start making some business decisions when we're talking about the money. If you're not aware, Bruce Brown has declined his player option. He will be a free agent. And the way that he's sounding, with his impending free agency, he's going to be shopping his services very actively. Not to say Denver won't be in play to bring him back, but I think Bruce Brown, if you listen to his statements, he was like, hey, Denver was the only team that wanted to give me a contract this past all season. I went out there, showed that could be part of a championship level team. Now it's time to get paid. And I don't blame him. Bruce Brown is a nice piece, a good 6th, 7th, 8th guy to have on your team. If he has the opportunity to cash in, get to the paper, young player, get to the paper, Gator girl. Yes, I have, because if you look at Miami as constituted, and I'm just going to look at it as constituted. I know a lot of people are reporting that Miami's going to be pursuing Dame Lillard. You got reports coming out of Portland saying that Portland is trying to get Bam. So I'm not sure what Miami looks like. I know what they look like as of now. I think Boston, if they're able to bring back Jaylen Brown, If they don't bring back Jaylen Brown, I think the East is going to be wide open. But it's all that stuff is the East is so much in flux right now. Not to say that it's not West, but Denver and Phoenix have kind of established themselves as the top of the class, with Sacramento getting a little bit better through the draft. Golden State making moves, LA possibly making moves. So the West is kind of settled in on like who's for real and who's not. The East is kind of wide open. The East is kind of wide open. Can you really depend on Miami making another finals run with the team as constituted as it is? I don't see it happening. But a lot of things could be in their favor. James Harden could be out in Philadelphia. Let's speak about that. Let's speak about that. If I'm Philadelphia, I'm not chasing James Harden. I'm going to put my primary focus on possibly bringing in Fred VanVleet, who is the free agent. I'm going to be looking to try to bring him in to pair with Joel. I think you don't lose much as scoring. I think you get a much better defensive guy at that position, a much more steady hand at that position. Fred VanVleet, if you're not aware, has been a very good player for Toronto, very consistent player for Toronto, one of the best defensive guards. Now, does he have James Harden's level of creativity? No, but I think he'll fit well with the Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid needs to be fed. I don't think Fred VanVleet will have a problem with that, and I don't see him, shrinking in the biggest moments. I just don't see it. So VanVleet would probably be my number one option if I'm Philadelphia, of trying to get a lead guard to pair with Joel. I would probably do that. Boston, like I said, influx. Porzingis, he had one of his best seasons last year. And it's not denying he's not a defensive stopper, but he is a defensive deterrent. All of 7-3. If he's able to stay healthy, even if they don't bring back Jaylen Brown, I think Boston will be in the mix. I wouldn't call them the heavy favorite. If they're able to bring back Jaylen Brown, Boston's got to be the favorite going into next season. It's just how the East is kind of set up. Unless Dame ends up in Miami, Boston is going to be, in my pick, to be the favorite in the East. But that's all constituted on if Jaylen Brown, if they're able to sign Jaylen Brown, because this, with the new CBA, and I learned something new today when I was kind of researching the CBA. Teams are not able to just waste the salary. They got to spend the money on something. Each team is required with the new cap rules to spend at least $90 million, not 90 million, 90% of their available cap space. So it's money to be had. Some teams are going to possibly have to overpay to meet those requirements. Washington could be one of those teams. Who knows? Now let's look at the third part of that trade. I think Marcus Smart going to Memphis makes Memphis a much more interesting team going forward. Marcus Smart is definitely an upgrade. And one little move you off Milwaukee already. If they bring, you're talking about Middleton as a free agent, Brook Lopez is a free agent, and how the new CBA is kind of working out. Are you going to be able to bring those guys back and still field a competitive team? That kind of plays into it, Gator Girl. Is Brook Lopez willing to come back on a team friendly deal? Is Chris Middleton going to come back on a more team friendly deal? Who knows? Chris Middleton could have easily opted into his player option, played this next season, making $40 million. But he opted out. Is Chris Middleton a max player at his age with his injury history? No. I think Brook Lopez has earned himself some money. His performance on the defensive end for the past couple of years. So I don't know. I don't know. If I had to, all of this is theories and what ifs right now, Get It Girl, because a lot of things are moving around. Is Miami in the mix if they trade Bam to Portland? I don't think so. And that's just me. That's just me. But if I got to look at it as it constituted as right now, Boston is got to be a favorite in the East. I'm not saying overwhelming favorite, but a slight favorite. A slight favorite. Giannis is still Giannis. Drew Holiday gets a little older. Chris Middleton showed wear and tear over the past couple of years. Can you bring back Brook Lopez on a team friendly deal? Who do you have on the bench that's ready to step up and really be consistent and contribute? New head coach gonna be in Milwaukee. I mean, it's a lot of moving parts. A lot of moving parts. I think Philadelphia is going to be in the mix. I think if they can get Van Fleet, if Philly can get Van Fleet and Boston loses Jaylen Brown, I got to put Philly slightly ahead, just because of the known commodity that Joel is over Porzingis. But I mean, it's a lot of flux in the East. A lot of flux in the East. I mean, depending on how things break, I mean, you could be talking about Cleveland being in the conversation for best team in the East, when it's all said and done, when all the pieces get done moving around. I'm surprised. I'm going to move on to the draft. I'm surprised it wasn't as much movement as far as player movement during the draft. I thought it was going to be a lot more trades going on, guys being moved, salary cap reasons, that kind of stuff. It was some on the back end of the first round. Nothing of note. Nothing that kind of jumped out. I thought teams were going to kind of really move up, considering Charlotte had, kind of let it be known, indirectly that they were going to take Miller, small forward out of Alabama. They were going to take Miller, number 2. Not that I'm bashing the pick, because I get what you have already in LaMelo Ball. You have a guy that needs the ball in his hands to have an impact on the game. Lamar Miller, kind of has modeled his game after a Paul George. I think he'll fit in nicely. I know talent-wise, Scoot Henderson may end up being the most talented player. When I watch Scoot play, not that I'm not going to compare him to Derrick Rose in his prime, but he gives me that same kind of vibe as far as the explosiveness that I see, when I watch him play. But I thought teams was going to be, really trying to move up to the number 3 spot. The Portland pick, considering that Scoot Henderson was there. He's the kind of guard, if he pans out, as projected, can change life for a lot of franchises. So I thought teams were going to be really to move up, give up heaven and earth to get that number 3 pick, considering that Portland doesn't really know what they want to do, because, they don't know what they want to do with Dame. Do you want to gut the team, rebuild, or do you want to, bring in guys that can play with Dame and possibly keep him there? Like I said, I thought teams were going to be clamoring to get up, and it may come out, later that teams were, offering deals, and Portland just was happy with, taking Scoot Henderson. But now, how does Scoot get minutes is the question I have. Once he got traded, I'm not traded, but got drafted to Portland. If Dame stays, where does his minutes come from? You're talking about he's going to be fighting for minutes with Dame. He's going to be fighting for minutes with Simons, Anthony Simons. He's going to be fighting for minutes with Shaedon Sharpe, who started turning up towards the end of the season. Where is he going to find minutes? They're gonna put him out there. But Scoot Henderson is one of those competitive players, and if you watch him in the G League, he needs the ball in his hands. You need to give him some burn. Where do you find it if you keep Dame Lillard? Now, they may have drafted Scoot with the intention of possibly trading Dame. I know Dame to Miami has been talked about, but Portland, like I said, doesn't know what they want to do. They had approached Miami with possibly bringing in Bam Adebayo in a trade package to team up. I know it was some reports that Portland kind of kicked the bucket to see if, what it would take to bring in Zion. I didn't see that one happening, but hey, Portland was in a prime position to had to pick a little, and I think teams just kind of like out, we'll stay in our position. Like I said, it wasn't a lot of movement. I think the biggest winner of the draft last night, considering if he pans out, it's got to be San Antonio. It's got to be San Antonio, not because San Antonio is, a prime destination for players, but the culture. We talk a lot about culture. We talked a lot about culture during the playoffs when we talked about the Miami Heat. San Antonio has a culture to have a lot of young players who got a lot of burn last year, during the start of the rebuild. I think when Miami can come in, I don't think they're going to ask him to do too much. I don't think Pop is going to ask him to be the focal point of the offense. I think he's going to, allow him to develop. I think, Wemby puts on about 20, 25 pounds of muscle. I think, we're talking about a real unicorn, a very unique player with his skill set. Like I said, it's San Antonio's got to be the biggest winner. To me, got to be the biggest winner when Miami comes in. There's no competition in his position. It's not going to be any question of how he finds minutes, how he fits in with anybody, because you're going to be the star of the team, but they're not depending on you to carry the team. I know San Antonio fans, that fan base, they know how to be patient. They know it's a process. They've lived through this before over 20 years ago with the Tim Duncan era. They lived through this. They lived through this, and Pop was there for that, and Pop's going to be there for this stretch. So I think, San Antonio for me is the biggest winner, possibly the biggest loser of the night. I possibly have to say the Detroit Pistons. I didn't like the pick of the Thompson twin. I think you could have went a lot more in a different direction. I didn't too much like it. Not to say that he can't play, not to say that he won't develop, but I think you got the lesser of the two. That's just my opinion. Not to say he won't be a good player. I just think using a position to possibly trade down, possibly stockpile some more picks because you need talent in Detroit. But that's about as far as I can go. Let me kind of get into the check. I see Gator Girls going off. Wemby's up next. I wish Orlando could have got him. I thought, Orlando had a pretty good, draft, all things considered. Like I said, I thought the number 3 pick was going to have like the most activity around it. It was going to be the most conversation around it. Because even if Scoot had got drafted number 2, Miller is not that far behind, in my opinion. Not that far behind. If I'm going to say Scoot is an 85, to me, Miller is like an 83. He's not that far behind. He's got some work he's got to work on this game. But I like what I saw from him from Alabama last year. It showed that he, in most drafts, Miller could have been a number 1 pick. Scoot in most other drafts would have been a number 1 pick. So you're not losing much. And I get why Charlotte took him due to the fit of having Alonzo Ball already. Alonzo Ball, is a very tall point, but I can't complain. I at the end of the day, I can't complain. We'll see if this, Michael Jordan's last pick as the owner, because he was the one that made this decision. I'll see if his last pick as the owner is going to be fruitful. So it's going to be another dud on his way out the door. But hey, we'll see. Like I said, NBA free agency starts July 1st. I'm expecting a lot of movement, especially, with how the new CBA is kind of working. Some guys are going to get paid. Some guys are going to get overpaid. It's going to be some teams going to have to make some real hard salary cap decisions. And I think that's part of the reason why you saw Golden State get off of Jordan Poole, other than his attitude, the fact that, hey, we got Jordan Poole on an extension. We got Wiggins, got Steph. Clay's got to get paid. Now Draymond's got to, it's a lot of guys to get paid. And the days of just going over and the guy, we're just going to pay the luxury tax. It's penalties and severe penalties. And teams are starting to make real business decisions based on the cap. But just because it ain't going to work out. We'll see. Like I said, I like Miller's game from like what I saw from him at Alabama. It's some stuff he's got to work at, but all these young guys got something to work at coming into the league. And I find this to be possibly the funniest thing when you watch the NBA draft. You notice they say this about a lot of guys. They got to come in and work on their shot. Why are these guys maybe it's just me because I'm a little older, but I remember guys being able to come into the league and have shots. coming in. Like some of these guys that they got drafted last night. Um, let the experts tell it can't shoot, or kind of like we just gonna leave him open. Like shooting is how you get paid, man. Ask Duncan Robinson. You can shoot in this league. You can stay around. Ask Kyle Korver. Ask Tim Legler. Ask JJ Redick. You can shoot. You can stay in. You can stay around in this league. Every team needs shooters. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Don't get me to ranting, talking like the old man that I am. Let me kind of get up out of here because I got to start working on the show in the other realm. Should be a fun show over there. But like I said, the housekeeping stuff will be rolling out, still rolling out the NFL content, but I may be doing a little something different. I may just be doing a division by division kind of season preview, because doing a team by team is a lot of work. Talking about putting a lot together, a lot of video, a lot of audio. It's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. So I may just do a division by division kind of preview to kind of keep it short, simple, and sweet. It took me a minute to do my first one. I ain't gonna lie to you. It took me a minute to do my first one. All the punching in and punching out. I am not Jay-Z on the microphone when it comes to doing those videos, those uploads. I'm a lot more better when I'm doing it live, but going to get into that. Some stuff coming out of training camp. Nothing big, nothing that needed to really be reported on. NBA is going to kind of like dominate the headlines for about the next week or two, considering free agencies getting ready to start on July 1st. So we're going to be, getting geared up. I want to kind of, break the news on that as it kind of comes. And please, NBA, stop doing these deals in the middle of the night. I would love to do uploads on this stuff, man. But when the news breaks and it's like 1 a.m, I'm not rolling out my bed, putting together footage and narrating. I just do a community post. I'm lazy like that. I'm just lazy like that. You'll get better over time. Yeah. Les Miles news. Yeah. Gator Girl. Yeah. I'm gonna have to say that for another show, because I got some not just Les Miles, these coaches getting in trouble and that kind of stuff, but I wanted to kind of do some, the Bob Huggins resignation that happened a couple weeks ago. Kind of want to do something on that, kind of take a deeper dive. I may just do an upload on that. I may just do it live. I don't know, but yeah, let me kind of get the get the prepping and all that kind of stuff, because I got to do the people ask for it, so I gotta oblige. I will be we'll be back doing a show possibly Monday or Tuesday. So I can kind of take some time out to kind of look at some stories coming out of training camp, kind of do a show on that. But we're gonna be doing that. Schedule NCAA take show. I can do that. I can do that before the season really gets into gear. Do my but come on, get it, girl. This is gonna be SEC, come on, but I'll do it. But like I know, it's gonna be the traditional, either Ohio State is gonna be in the mix, Michigan's gonna be in the mix, Alabama, Georgia, Florida may be a sneaky pick this year. Does Tennessee fall back down? But a lot of the noise is going to be coming out of the South. But I'm gonna do a show for that. For those that are interested in the college football, like I am. Roll goddamn tide. But let me get up out of here because I got to get some work done. Thank y'all for coming out. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and all the good stuff. I appreciate everybody that comes through, watches from the clouds, leave comments, hit the like button, whatever, man. I appreciate it. I enjoy doing it. And still don't have an outro. But I'm out.